Welcome to our channel, where we delve into the darkest corners of the human imagination. Tonight, we embark on a journey into the unsettling realm of forbidden knowledge. We bring you 3 spine-chilling tales from the libraries of forbidden knowledge. Turn off the lights, sit back, and prepare to be terrified. Our first tale takes us to the secluded village of Oakhaven, a place steeped in ancient secrets. Nestled deep within a dense forest, Oakhaven is a village that time seems to have forgotten. The villagers live simple lives, untouched by the modern world, and their days are filled with whispers of old legends and eerie tales. Within the ruins of the old Blackwood Manor lies a library unlike any other. This library, known as the Blackwood Library, is a place of dark wonder and foreboding mystery. The Blackwood Library was said to house a collection of arcane texts and grimoires bound in human skin. These books were rumored to contain forbidden knowledge, spells, and incantations that could summon otherworldly beings and unleash untold horrors. Legend has it that the library was cursed by a malevolent entity. This curse was said to be so powerful that it could ensnare the souls of those who dared to enter, trapping them within its dark walls for eternity. The villagers warned travelers to stay far away from its cursed grounds. They spoke of strange noises and ghostly apparitions that haunted the library, and of the many who had entered never to return. They say that those who dared to enter the library were never seen again. The stories of their disappearances became cautionary tales passed down through generations. One fateful night, a young scholar named Edward decided to ignore the warnings and venture into the ruins. Edward was a man driven by curiosity and a thirst for knowledge, and the tales of the Blackwood Library's forbidden texts were too tempting to resist. The air grew heavy with dread as he approached the library. The trees seemed to close in around him, and the silence was broken only by the distant hoot of an owl. Edward pushed open the creaking oak doors, his heart pounding. The sound echoed through the empty halls, and he hesitated for a moment, feeling the weight of the curse pressing down on him. The air inside was thick with dust and decay. The smell of mold and old paper filled his nostrils, and he could almost taste the age of the place. Cobwebs hung from every corner, and the only light came from the sliver of moon shining through the grimy windows. The shadows cast by the moonlight seemed to move and shift, creating an eerie dance of light and dark. As Edward stepped further into the library, he felt a cold hand grip his heart. The temperature seemed to drop, and he could see his breath in the air. The shadows seemed to dance and whisper his name. He could hear faint, ghostly voices calling out to him, urging him to turn back. He stumbled upon a table piled high with ancient books. The titles were written in languages he couldn't understand, and the covers were adorned with strange symbols and runes. As he reached out to touch one, a blood-curdling scream pierced the silence. The sound was so loud and sudden that it made him jump, and he felt a chill run down his spine. Edward whirled around to find a grotesque figure with glowing red eyes. The creature was unlike anything he had ever seen, with twisted limbs and a face contorted in a permanent snarl. The creature lunged at him, its claws tearing through his flesh. Edward's screams echoed through the library as he fought for his life. But the curse of the Blackwood Library had claimed another victim. Our next tale takes us to the Grand Blackwood Library, a towering edifice of marble and granite. This library, known for its vast collection of rare and ancient texts, holds a dark secret that few are aware of. Beneath the bustling reading rooms lay a hidden chamber, its entrance concealed behind a bookcase. This secret room was known only to a select few, passed down through whispers and legends. Within this chamber lay a collection of books bound in human skin and written in blood. These macabre volumes were said to contain the confessions of the most heinous crimes and darkest secrets of the human soul. Each book was a confession of the darkest secrets of the human soul. The pages, filled with tales of betrayal, murder, and forbidden rituals, seemed to pulsate with a life of their own. It is said that the books were drawn to this place, their creators compelled to confess their sins. The very act of writing in these books was a form of penance, a way to unburden their tormented souls. The very air within the chamber seemed thick with a palpable sense of dread. A heavy mist hung in the air, and the faint sound of whispers could be heard, as if the books themselves were speaking. One evening, a young librarian named Eleanor stumbled upon the hidden chamber. She had been working late, cataloguing some newly acquired texts, when she noticed a draft coming from behind a bookcase. As she pushed the bookcase aside, a chill ran down her spine. The hidden door creaked open, revealing a dark passageway that seemed to beckon her forward. Stepping inside, Eleanor found herself surrounded by shelves of books. The room was dimly lit, and the air was thick with the scent of old paper and something more sinister. As she reached out to touch one, her fingers brushed against something cold and damp. She pulled her hand back in shock, realizing that the book was bound in human skin. She realized with horror that the books were bound in human skin. The texture was unmistakable, and the sight of it made her stomach churn. The air was heavy with the metallic scent of blood. It was as if the very walls of the chamber were soaked in the essence of the confessions contained within the books. Drawn deeper into the chamber, Eleanor discovered a book lying open on a pedestal. The book seemed to glow faintly, as if it held some dark power within its pages. Its pages, filled with an elegant script, seemed to pulsate with a faint light. The words were written in blood, the crimson ink still wet, as if the confessions were freshly made. The words were written in blood, the crimson ink still wet. The sentences seemed to shift and change, forming new confessions with each passing moment. The words on the page seemed to blur and shift, forming sentences that spoke of unspeakable acts. Each confession was more horrifying than the last, detailing crimes that defied imagination. Suddenly, the chanting grew louder, the air crackling with unseen energy. It was as if the very room was alive, reacting to the presence of an intruder. The books on the shelves began to shake, their pages rustling frantically. The sound was deafening, a cacophony of voices, all speaking at once. Eleanor stumbled back, her mind reeling from the terror. She had to get out, but her legs felt like lead and her heart pounded in her chest. As she turned to flee, she caught sight of a figure standing in the doorway. The figure was shrouded in darkness, its presence sending a wave of fear through her. Its eyes, glowing with an eerie light, seemed to pierce through her very soul. She felt a cold hand grip her heart, and she knew that she had uncovered something that was never meant to be found. Chapter 3. The Prophetic Tome. Our final tale takes us to the quiet solitude of a small-town library, a place where time seemed to stand still, and the whispers of the past lingered in the air. The Ashton Library, nestled in a quaint town, was a place of quiet refuge. Its wooden shelves held the weight of countless stories, each one a portal to another world. Among the countless volumes, one book stood apart, its ancient pages whispering secrets. It was a tome that seemed to pulse with a life of its own, a relic from a time long forgotten. The book, bound in human skin and secured with heavy iron clasps, was kept locked away in the library's vault. It was a forbidden artifact, shrouded in mystery and fear. Legend had it that the book was a relic of a forgotten age, its pages containing prophecies that foretold the rise and fall of empires, the destinies of men, and the secrets of the universe. One rainy afternoon, a young librarian named Arthur found himself drawn to the vault. The rain tapped against the windows, a rhythmic call that seemed to beckon him towards the unknown. Curiosity gnawed at him, whispering promises of forbidden truths. The vault door loomed before him, a barrier between the known and the unknown. With trembling hands, Arthur unlocked the vault. The key turned with a reluctant creak, as if the door itself was warning him to turn back. Inside, resting on a pedestal, lay the book. It seemed to glow with an inner light, casting eerie shadows on the walls of the vault. As Arthur reached out to touch the book, a jolt of energy surged through his body. It was as if the book was alive, reacting to his presence. Unfastening the clasps, Arthur opened the book. The pages seemed to sigh, releasing a breath that had been held for centuries. The text, written in a language he couldn't decipher, seemed to writhe before his eyes. The words twisted and turned, forming shapes and symbols that defied understanding. Visions flooded his consciousness, vivid and terrifying glimpses of the future. He saw wars and peace, life and death, all unfolding in a chaotic dance. The knowledge threatened to shatter Arthur's sanity. The weight of the prophecies was too much for any one person to bear. He tried to close the book but found himself paralyzed. The book held him in its thrall, refusing to release its grip. The air around him grew heavy, the temperature plummeting. His breath turned to frost, hanging in the air like a ghostly mist. The shadows in the room seemed to writhe and coalesce. They formed shapes that danced on the edge of his vision, taunting him with their presence. Arthur felt a presence behind him, cold and menacing. It was a feeling of being watched, of being judged by an unseen force. "You have gazed upon that which was forbidden." The voice was a whisper, yet it echoed in his mind, filling him with dread. "Now you shall share the burden of knowledge." The weight of the words pressed down on him, a responsibility he had never asked for. The book, glowing with an eerie light, slammed shut. Dust flew into the air, sparkling in the dim light like tiny stars. Arthur collapsed to the floor, the vision still seared into his mind. The knowledge was a curse, a burden he would carry for the rest of his days. Thank you for joining us on this terrifying journey through the libraries of forbidden knowledge. We've explored the shadowed stacks and felt the weight of secrets best left buried. But remember, these are just stories, tales spun from the shadows of our imagination. Or are they? If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more spine-chilling tales. Until next time, stay safe and keep your lights on.